like
even
that.
if you see fruit for junction,
Not be so talker. People just they cut the man.
That mentions are not
that is zobo. People are so angry with them that anything they say they take it out of context. That was completely out of context. No, no, they find that Pabio trouble. I'm warning you, Joseph.
He's an uncommon person.
Anyway, you're saying I'm sorry the network is bad. Have a nice day and think less of Nigerian problems for your health's sake. Amen to that. So that message was very good. Okay. Okay, let's take an ad. Then I'll see how many more I can take, and our guest will be joining us. Short.
The voice of the people, 90.3 FM.
You are listening to the number one station, the voice of the people, 90.3 FM.
Do you love amazing Nigerian movies? Action! Laugh out loud comedy skits? Or gripping shows and series? Serve yourself all the drama, passion, betrayal, action, and laughs on YouTube with the YouTube Buffet plan from MTN. Enjoy over 10 hours of YouTube streaming for just 500 Naira and over 4 hours for 200 Naira. Dial *312*800# to activate now. YouTube, made for you.
Now the wait is over. The answer is here. The big question on everybody's lips will be answered come 20th October 2024. MC Chooks Live. Why I am not married.
When will you marry? When will you marry?
The question on why MC Chooks is not married will be answered on the 20th of October 2024.
Venue, Live Event Center, Okota, Isolo, Lagos.
Performing alongside MC Chooks is MC Passion,
Koloman,
ATM,
Elder O,
Ball Joint,
Dr. Walkie Talkie,
Dr. Buntu,
MOG Akbos,
Baba Di Baba,
Benji the Joke,
Shimaraf,
Osho Shot,
Honey Tongue,
Open Teeth,
Shakira Bobo, MC Laz, and host of others.
Musical performances by Kenzie the African Boy and Zidane Paparella.
MC Chooks Live. Why I am not married. Save the date, make a plan, and come get answers to the question of the century on October the 20th, 2024.
Tickets available at Commander Mother Care, opposite Arena Market, Oshodi. For more inquiries, call 090-1698-5929. Red carpet, 4 p.m. Main show, 5 p.m.
He who has a mouth, let him come and laugh.
Be there.
If you want to be heard, say here. On Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. People, 90.3 FM.
Right, VOP 93 and 90.3 FM, that's where you're at. I have Yosade BYJ from Shasha. You're saying Cardoso and CBN are basically on holiday and have put us further down on the reverse trajectory of Buhari and Emefiele. A lot of fear is palpable in our financial institutions, and Cardoso needs to roll up his sleeves and work. Nigeria's net worth has dropped by over 50% by the APC-led federal government. They must have to rejig the strategies. Usadebe Waje from Shasha, thank you. Good morning to you. Latif Chiami, how are you? The removal of fuel subsidy is not the issue that caused inflation. The issue is floating of the Naira. Is the guest ready? Is it already? Okay, all right. I may not be able to read all again. I apologize because something, I know, took us off, so I couldn't take it the way I should have taken all the messages. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Okay. As I mentioned to you earlier on, we'll be joining somebody from Lamata who will be telling us about the new reel that's just been launched and open to the public. The governor was there working as ground staff. I'm talking about the Corporate Communications, Lagos State Area Metropolitan and Transport Authority, Lamata. Mr. Kolawole Ojelabi, he's joining us virtually. Had a very, very busy day yesterday with the opening of the Red Rail. Just give us a quick run through the event yesterday and how people reacted to it.
Okay, so first and foremost, let me correct the name of our organization.
Okay, please.
The name of our organization is Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority.
Area Transport Authority. All right.
Yes.
Thank you
Okay,
very
so
much for that. Thank you
thank
very
you.
much for that. Okay.
Okay, so what we did yesterday was to launch the passenger operation for the Red Line. If you recall, on the 29th of February this year, our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, came to Lagos to commission the completion of infrastructure of that project. So yesterday, what we started was the passenger
Okay.
operation. And so the governor came there in the evening yesterday and joined the train from Oyingbo to Ikeja. And the train continued the journey up to Alagbado. Now, that part of Agbado is also a trade in Lagos. And so we needed to take that project, to that part of Ogun State so that it would be easier for them to commute between Ogun State and Lagos State.
Basically, because a lot of people come there to work in Lagos.
Yes, yes. A lot of people live in Ogun State, apparently because of the cost of
Accommodation.
accommodation. Yes, the cost of accommodation in Ogun State. So people live there and come to work in Lagos. And so we also believe that we needed to cater to their needs, and we were able to do that under the Lagos Ogun Joint Development Commission.
So yesterday was a very grand time. A lot of people in these areas would have heaved a sigh of relief because from the reports we've heard and read, about 500,000 people should be going through that line every day. How did you come about that number, 500,000? That's
no,
what the reports had.
Yes, I have read the reports. Now, the conversation we always have is that when we complete the line should be able to move 1 million passengers every day when it gets to its final destination. And the final destination in this case is National Theatre. We're taking it across the lagoon to Lagos Island. But we reckon that there is going to be a lot of contravention along that line, and we need to remove a lot of buildings. And so if we have to do that, then it means we'll be paying a lot of compensation. So rather than pay compensation, we needed to take a route where we'll need to demolish minimal buildings for us to get it to National Theatre. And if you know that the blue line comes all the way from Marina currently to Mile 2, ultimately is going to Okukumaiko. So we feel that we need to interconnect the red line to the blue line at National Theatre. So whichever way you are going to Central Lagos, you are going towards Mile 2 and eventually Okukumaiko. There will be that handshake between the blue line and the red line at that point. So the figure of 500,000 that is in the public space, the current phase may not be able to take up to that.
Okay.
It may not be able to take up to that. And don't forget, we are sharing tracks with the Nigerian Railway Corporation, and so we are licensed by the NRC to use their tracks. So we are limited as to what we can do on the tracks. And we are limited because there are other services using the tracks. So the services must be synced in such a way that there's any collision between trains. And so currently we'll be doing only 4 trips, 2 trips in the morning and 2 trips in the afternoon.
When do you hope to expand that? Because I know the target of morning, people going to work, and then the homeward bound journey in the evening. What about in between? Because Lagos being a state where we have a lot of people doing their own businesses, we still have a lot of people moving during the lunch break and during other hours. When is that hopefully going to kick in for all
when we get to that point, we'll certainly have to announce it. But I've just told you that we are limited because we don't have exclusive right on that track. Now, and I will want to compare it with the blue line. The blue line, we have exclusive right over the tracks. when we started the Blue Line operation, we were doing just about 24 trips a day. Later on, we increased it from 24 to 54. So currently, we are doing 72 trips on the Blue Line. It gives us a lot of leeway, a lot of space for us to do that because we have exclusive right over the tracks. But because we're sharing tracks with the NRC, I cannot pointedly tell you that this is when the trips will be increased. But we are working with NRC to ensure that we're able to get that increment, in trips on their tracks.
And then those on the island, a lot of people have moved to the Ibeju-Lekki area. We're talking about Lekki Phase 1 and so on. And we know that the Lekki-Okpei Expressway is basically one major route that everybody in that region will be plying. Any plan for that region to have their own rail? Maybe you can call it the yellow line or the cream line to match the color of the of the beaches in that area.
Okay. So if you have been following conversation, like I said earlier today in another interview, we have in Lagos what is called the Strategic Transport Master Plan. In this master plan, we have 6 rail lines. And so for that corridor, there are actually 2 rail projects for the area. There's a monorail that will orbit Marina, Lagos, Victoria Island, Ikoyi, and part of Lekki Phase 1. Now, if you remember recently also, the governor was in China as part of the delegation of Mr. President to China.
Yeah.
And a memorandum of understanding was signed for the implementation of the Green Line. The Green Line is a 68-kilometer railroad from Marina to Lekki Free Zone. Okay, so the Green Line is actually the rail project plan for that Lekki-Okpei corridor up to the Lekki Free Zone. And don't forget, at the Lekki Free Zone, also, there's going to be an airport there. So we want to make the journey seamless for both rail travelers and air travelers, so that if you want to make an international travel, you don't really need to carry your car or drive your car to the airport. The train is there to take you there. If you live around the Lekki corridor, or even if you are using the Blue Line to connect with the Green Line to take you all the way to the airport.
It is a very big move, I must say so myself, because a lot of people use these facilities, and I have seen the happiness people have displayed as per these facilities working well in their favor. Another thing I've been wondering about, does the state have plans for trams? The ones that can run within the city itself. Any plan for trams in the nearest future?
Well, for our strategic transport master plan, we have plans for monorail. And, the difference between a monorail and a tram is that a monorail is elevated. It is elevated. But for trams will have to share the road with traffic. And so there's going to be an intelligent transport system, like a transponder, that will send a message when a tram is coming. We believe that with the number of rail lines that we plan for Lagos and a few monorails that we have for Lagos, I think it will be enough for Lagos to be competitive in terms of transportation. But like I said, our SCMP does not indicate room for trams for now.
Joseph Lawrence is also here with us, and he has a couple of questions he would like to ask.
Okay. Yeah, Oga Ojilabi, my first question, you mentioned of that it will be morning and afternoon. Can we know the specific time for afternoon? Because I know a lot of people only leave their office between 5 upward to be going to Alagbado, Kola, and Ifode from Lagos.
Okay, so for the evening, there will be 4 trips. The first trip will leave at 5:20. The next one will be at 6:40. Sorry, that will be from Oyingbo. Okay, so the first trip is 5:20. The second one is 6:40. Then at 7:57 and at 9:17.
So the last is going to be at 9:17, and in the
Yes.
morning, the early morning rush. What have we
Early
done?
morning, it will be 6 a.m. from Agbado, and the second trip will be 7:30 from Iju. Why that is because in the morning the rush at Agbado is huge, and so what that means is that passengers, in Iju, Agege, Ikeja, Oshodi, Mushin, Yaba may not have enough space. So we needed to take care of passengers from Lagos, and that's why we'll have a trip from Iju from 7:30. And for those who would like to see the schedule, please they can visit our social media handle at Lamata Online on all platforms.
Approximately, Joe, I know you still have something, but approximately one trip, say from Agbado to the Oyingbo, like how many commuters could fit in?
I would say for each car of the train there are 4 cars.
Okay.
Now, if you apply what happens, in Europe, America,
In the West, generally.
where generally when you have peak hour, apart from those sitting, there are a lot of people standing.
Yeah.
So we reckon that a coach or a car will take up to 200 passengers. So each trip, if you have the train filled up, you should have up to about 800 passengers on the train.
Joseph.
That's it. So now, how do you manage? Give us a clearer operation, because I know that the Nigeria Railway Corporation did leave Yaba to Ibadan 8 a.m. in the morning. Then I think by 4, which I've followed for some time, 4 from Ibadan down to Lagos. What is the arrangement that it will not? You don't disturb them; they don't disturb you on the road.
And that's why we said we are sharing tracks. So NRC is the regulator in this instance, and so in the sharing of our tracks, there are windows that they have given to Lagos State government to run the red line, and so we will not in any way interface with the Ibadan rail. And don't forget that for the Ibadan rail, when it's coming from Abeokuta, the first stop is at Agbado, then the next stop is at Agege. After Agege, it will just go straight to the last stop, which is EPJ. So in any way, we are not interfacing with them. Rather, when our train is on another track, the Ibadan rail will take another track and it's going all the way to EPJ.
Now, for commuters, are there things they need to have? I know there are cards. Some people in some parts of the world, they have like the Oyster card. I see the carry card. I see that advert sometimes. I don't know if it's same with the train. It's for the train. I don't really know. What is the modality for one to be able to use the train?
The carry card is a one payment card for all regulated transport system in Lagos State. And when I say regulated transport system, I'm talking about the trains, I'm talking about BRT buses or standard road buses or the FLM. Then we're talking about ferry. It's the same card.
That is with one card. If you load your token in that card, you can, for instance, jump down from the train, get into the bus, then get into the ferry with
the same card. So that's the only passport you need for you to be able to use any of the services.
But if one doesn't have the carry card, can you just go to the counter and buy your one-off ticket?
Well, there's no one-off ticket. Let me also say that the carry card is an offshoot of the Lagos LAG ID. The Lastra has a LAG ID. Now, Lag ID has a lot of compartments. I think about 27 compartments. You can use your Lag ID as your resident identification. You can use it for transportation. You can use it for, you can use it as your bank card. You can use it to do all kinds of things. But we reckon that there are a lot of people coming to Lagos who may, who are not entitled to have the Lag card. So that's why we have to isolate the carry card out of that. So for those who have their Lag card, they can use it on any of the system. But for someone who wants to use the system, you need to buy the carry card. It is not a one-off thing like you'll find elsewhere. It is not one-off. Because the reason is that people who come to Lagos, they'll come repeated times. And so when people use our services, we want to know those who use the service. And let me tell you that if you are registering your carry card, you must register it with the number you use to register your NIN. So the moment that number is punched onto the system, we know who you are.
So the LAC card, how are you able to load money into that? I'm just trying to understand.
It's the same process. You can load money into that card from your bank, from your bank. You can also go to any counter or any POS that is loading credits or loading token on your card for transportation. The system will recognize where you want to load your token.
Now, in case you have a question you'd like to ask, maybe we've not asked what you're thinking, we've not asked, you could also call in to ask. Please, the only number you should be calling for now should be 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. Is there something you'd like to know? Is there a clarification you would like to have as per the rail system in Lagos? Do you have a place that you like it to cover? You could call in and share your thoughts while a kind guest will be responding to your questions, your queries, or clearing your confusions. Joseph? Okay, let's just take this one straight on first before I move on. Hello, how are you? I say make on an call WhatsApp now, sure. Call just 0700 903 903. Hello, how are you? Hello, I've picked your call. Hello, okay, you're going to call back now. I think it dropped. So 0700 903 903 903. Please call that number instead of the WhatsApp one. And that's what made us read. Good morning, how are you? Oh.
Lady C and Mr. Joe.
Welcome.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Chuka Chude. I'm calling from Ayobo.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah. When I came to Lagos, and don't ask me when, there was a Lagos map. There was a Lagos map. I'm sure that if our guest is old enough, he will also know that.
Of course, he over know. It's not a small boy.
Yes. I want to ask, because if you go abroad, sometimes this city map, mega city map, will also have train schedules as well as bus schedules. When are we going to have a new Lagos map? Or is there no department in Laosa for cartography?
Okay.
That's number one. The second question is this. I would advise that they have rail offices all over Lagos State. And we must understand that majority of Nigerians don't know what is called social media handle.
Okay.
Yes, based on the population of enlightened or educated people, even up to school start. Many of them don't have access to any Android phone.
Okay.
So please, that's why I'm suggesting that we have offices so that people can have a measure of awareness. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chuka Chude. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, sir, you heard him, right?
Yes, I heard him.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Please respond.
Okay, we're talking about Lagos map. Thank you, Chuka Chude, yes. Well, it was saying that if I'm holding up. Yes, I'm holding up. I know. I know the Lagos map is talking about. I also know that recently we are working on such a project with the Ministry of Tourism. And I'm sure before long, we're going to have that. I know it makes it easier in Lagos now because we even have someone, a special advisor, who's in charge of electronic geographic information system. So that makes it easier. That's why, in Lagos, you can use Google to drive and get to your destination. So it makes it easier. Okay, so about rail offices, yes. Currently in corridors where we are operating, there are offices there. When we are extending to other destination, other corridors, certainly we're going to have rail offices. But I think, I want to agree with him that, maybe not too many people have social media or talk about social media handle. We will do all we could in terms of public enlightenment for people to know, about these services, the do's and don'ts on them. So I will certainly put up, a very good show, in that instance.
I have a suggestion. Maybe some of the major locations in Lagos could have a rep seated in the corner. Maybe all the malls, there could be a little kiosk for a ticketer or whoever in all the malls. Just a little cubicle, a little kiosk. Could just position them around major parts of the state for people to maybe get their tickets. If they know they are going to this area, get their tickets, and maybe that could help. Maybe that could work too.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. It's also something that we are open to. Before now, you can get the carry cards in a lot of places. And what we're also doing is we're doing a decentralization of the card. Just like you said earlier, if you're in London, you use your Oyster card, you can go to the corner shop. You can procure your Oyster card there, and you can also go to the same corner shop and top up your card. So we're also doing something like that currently. That we are using some POS operators. Where you see the sign, top up your carry card here, you go there and they will top up your card for you, and you can also procure your carry card from those locations.
All right.
We're going to expand the net.
Okay. All right. You have a question. You say Lagos State is really trying in terms of provision of transport for its citizens. I wish Lagos would extend this red line to Ijoko in Ogun State. That was Latif from Ifo, Ogun State. Any plans on that?
Okay, Ijoko is in Ogun State, so that's another jurisdiction. So it is not something that we can expressly extend. The Ogun State government also has a plan for that part of Ogun State to extend the current line from Agbado up to Ijoko. But I know that at a higher level, conversations are going on.
Okay.
And I'm sure that both governments will come to a common ground as to when that will come. All you just need to do along this corridor is to build train stations where train could stop, platform where train, passengers could board the train. The tracks are already there.
Okay.
So it should not be difficult to achieve.
All right. This person says I should ask you after greeting you. So I am greeting you, sir. That I should greet you first. And they want to ask, please, ma, help us ask, Oga, how will all these solve the hardship we have in the country presently? Over to you, sir.
Well, the hardship is what all of us are going through. And in conversations before, this hardship is a result of many years of inability to tackle some of those things. We have used the Naira to defend some of this hardship, but what government is saying is that we cannot continue to use the Naira to defend it. And so we need to ensure that we're able to put things in order.
Okay.
While I am also part of those suffering that hardship. But we believe that abroad, where people are jackpotting to, if they have not done the right thing, who will not jackpot? And I continue to say, and we also had that conversation this morning, that I know in the 70s, the federal government had good intention by sending some Nigerians abroad to go and learn technology, car manufacturing. And this was the reason why even Ajaokuta and some other, places were established, so that when our children return from abroad, they will come and do what they have learned abroad, and they come and do it here.
Yeah.
But the fact is that most of them changed courses, and some of them stayed abroad. And you also discover that those who stayed abroad were doing very well abroad, flying the names of Nigeria, but leaving their country to suffer a lot of neglect. So there have been a lot of structural breakdown. So I think it's that structure that we are trying to put, or government is trying to put in place now. Now, to answer the question, how will this solve the hardship? Well, we also believe that if people are able to travel far to look for jobs, because people may say because of money I cannot travel far, but you now have something that will take you far. So I think it also assists. But those who say I cannot travel far, there is an infrastructure, there is a rolling stock, there's something that will take you to that point now. But I still believe that all of us will need to really bear a little more. We are all bearing it. For 3 days now, I've not had light in my house. I've not had light. I woke up this morning, there was no water for me to bath. I had to enter a store to go and buy, bottled water, which I pour in bucket to have my bath this morning. That's the truth. So all of us are going through it. I know that for your station, to run your station, if you don't have light, you have to run on diesel. So how many commercials are you getting in a day to run your stations? Your station is also going through that hardship. All of us are going through it. But we need to bear, we need to have hope, we need to have faith that those who are the helms of affairs will be able to put things in order, and that in a short while they begin to reap the benefit of their efforts.
Okay. I wanted to say something, but I thought against it because that's not the direction of this conversation. So I don't get myself started. I wanted to talk about this electricity thing you just referred to. The fact that you've not had a supply for the past 3 days, just like the other parts of the country, the whole country. And the fact that we suffered two grid collapses in fact, like in 24 hours space. Where I wanted to go to was maybe, are you close to the government to help us tell the dear minister in charge of power that he shouldn't think that a lot of the people his ministry is dealing with are dumb people coming out to tell us that, it was just a trip off, when every other person knew it was a collapse. The minister is trying to convince us that no, it was a trip off. That's where a lot of people are not very happy with. So that's why I say, may I not go that side. Let's still remain with the rail so that our journey will be smoother.
No, but even at that, if you talk about it, I'm sure you already is online. There are people who are monitoring. Who will also put this conversation back to
him. Yes.
Yes. If it has anything to do with the project we're implementing, I will certainly take it back to the management of Lamata to say that this is what the people are saying. And I'm sure the managing director will also take it to the governor to say this is what the people are saying. And so that's what has informed some of the decisions that the governor had to make to ensure that, he listened to the voice of the public.
Now that we're at this area of power supply, how does the rail work? Does it work on the power of the sun, electricity, or is just technically arranged not to depend on any of this? What's the source of the power? Because sometimes some people worry that I don't want to be on a train and we are on the road and the next thing it stops midway or halfway.
Okay.
How does it run? What does it run on?
we have mixed power sources. For instance, for our blue line is 100% powered by electricity. Now we have 3 power levels for the blue line. We have supply from the national grid. We also have inverter batteries on the train. Then we also have a dedicated power plant, an IPP, that that will have for the train. So if there is a power cut from the national grid, the inverter in the train takes over immediately to allow the IPP kick in, and this process takes less than 1 minute. So as a passenger on the train, you will not feel anything. We have the dedicated power. We have 8 megawatts that is powering the train system. That's for the blue line. For the red line, for the blue line, we call it EMU, electric multiple units. But for the red line, we have DMU, diesel multiple units. So for the red line, it is being powered purely by diesel. And so the fear that, the train might stop midway, or might just stop abruptly. Yes, in train operation, the train might stop midway simply because there could be an operational reason why it has to stop. But that does not mean that, it doesn't happen here alone. It happens abroad. So if you have traveled far and wide, you can validate what I'm trying to say here. So there shouldn't be any reason to fear. Information will be relayed over the public address system within the train as to what is happening.
Okay, so in a situation where we have this type of experience we've just had, where about almost 3 days now, no supply, how do you get to now charge the extra source of power for the train? Because we know that the inverters need charging, how do you back up that system for eventualities such as this one now to ensure that the system doesn't get grounded when we have this type of experience?
I've just informed that we have an IPP, 8 megawatts. 8 megawatts is huge electricity. So that is what we are using to power the trains currently. And so when there's a cut from public power source and an inverter takes over, shortly after, the IPP will take over. So this IPP will charge the batteries. So you don't have any fear regarding that. If you can go to the train station, or you can ask, you can tell me, I will take you to the train station. We can do a ride together on the train, even now that we don't have power. And you see that the train is running. Don't forget, the train runs 72 trips every day, 72 trips.
Yeah. Sometimes we ask these questions, not maybe because via reading or following the things, we do not really know how it's working and so on. It's just to also bring the mind of those listening to be, should I put it in the pidgin way, for their mind to rest that, okay, it's like this. That's why some questions that may look a bit not too, they ought to be asked for everybody to be on the same page. That is why you get to hear some of this, for us to reiterate that this is what it is and this is what could be, just to have everybody.
No, I understand you perfectly. Yeah. Don't forget that first and foremost, I'm a journalist myself, so I ask such things too.
Okay. So I have Joseph. I know you have a question, but let me quickly read this person's own, since the lines are blinking, but I'll take this one. Please, what's the plan of for the maintenance of the current transportation infrastructure? If you go to most of the structures built by the former governor, they are looking like there is no continuity, and the lack of its improvement is looking intentional. And long and short, Napoleon is asking to know continuity. If this administration leaves and let's say a PDP comes in, how are we sure that the continuity will be there? Because he gave an example that if you take a look at what maybe the previous governor had put in place. They are all looking desolate and so on. So, plans for continuity, plans for maintenance of the infrastructure, what do we have in place?
Okay, so I don't really know those infrastructures that are looking, transport infrastructure that are looking desolate. It would have been nice if Napoleon had given one or two examples so that.
No. He's not referring to the transport. He just said structures. So I'm just putting it all into one.
I will speak from the transport space. I am not a politician. I'm only a technocrat. So I will not talk about what other governors have done. But I'm talking from my own space. That in the transport sector, there's no infrastructure that has been built in the past that have been left. Will ensure, because transportation is a linchpin of our civilization. When you go to a new city, a new country, the first thing you see is the transport infrastructure. If you are traveling by air, it is the transport infrastructure that you first see. And so it now depends on how the transport infrastructure is put in place and how it is maintained that, will make you have a good experience in that new space that you find yourself. And I can assure you that, Mr. Folorenshaw is also aware that the Blue Line, if you go to the Blue Line, what you will have seen at the Blue Line infrastructure a year ago is also what you still find there. And I, as someone in charge of communication, I believe that it is not only by the spoken words that you communicate. Even when you go to the conveniences, how are the conveniences looking? And is it that you get there and it's smelling? Those are the kind of things that will make sure that we give detailed attention to. And I also know that this current governor has, in his own right, worked on a lot of infrastructure left by previous administration. I'm a spokesman for the government generally, but I can vouch for this governor that the governor has not left any infrastructure. Even somebody was telling me the other day that they started work on the Lubiri housing project. That was built by three governors ago, and is working on it. So it will be counterproductive for any government, whether it is one political party or the other, to say because it was not our party that built that, and you're not leaving it. It is money built with public funds, public taxes, and so we, the people, will actually query that governor why you have left that infrastructure unattended to. And I think people living in Lagos, residents of Lagos, I really salute them because they will ask these questions. They will ask their representative. They will put them to task as to why this is not being done. And I also know that those who are the representative are also representing the people very well by asking questions. The other day, the House Committee on Transportation came to Lamata, and they were asking us questions. They were telling us questions being asked by members of the public, and we were able to give them satisfactory answer, and they confirmed that we were not leaving those things, unattended to.
We have with us the head of corporate communications, Lagos State Metropolitan Area Transport Authority. I don't get. Don't worry. Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Mr. Kolawole Ojelabi. He is our guest, and he's been explaining to us the way it works and the way you can enjoy this and be a part of it without challenges. Joseph?
Yeah, Oga Ojelabi, I was in Cross River State frequently last year, frequently this year, and I discovered one thing that the former governor of Cross River State, Donald Duke, have done and what he did not do. Cross River is supposed to be the hub of tourism in Nigeria, if we have to follow some of his track record.
Yes.
But immediately he left, despite the governor, the PDP hand over to VDP, it was completely, I can't say it was abandoned, but just because they did not carry the citizen along. Because asking question in Cross River State, the schools, they were not very, very informed about the beauty of that tourism. What is Lamata do to ensure that children in primary school, children in kindergarten are carried along with all this development that is going on in Lagos, especially in respect of transport, so that continuity will be there, so that children can be well integrated about what's there, and they will maintain it.
From the get-go, they understand.
Okay, thank you very much. Lamata was 20 years last December. When we celebrated our first 10 years, we published a compendium detailing all that we had done. We distributed to all schools in Lagos State and even within Nigeria. We have done the second one, which we're about distributing to schools again. For the blue line, we have left a window for schools to come on excursion. And during these, excursions, we explain, how transport modes are planned to be integrated, how they can use the system. And you also discover that those children ask interesting questions. And so a lot of them went back satisfied with the answers that we have given. Today, I've received more than 7 letters of schools wanting to come on excursion, because schools are also seeing, coming on excursion to transport infrastructure, getting explanation as a veritable way of teaching our children, giving them notes on transportation, so that when they grow up, they have information, they know how to interact with the system. So on our own, part of also what we have done is to also meet with some is it the primary, yes, the education districts, to see how we can integrate transportation into the curriculum of primary and secondary school pupils in Lagos State, so that by the time they are entering into the university or doing some other trade, they already have information. And we are doing this in partnership with other transport agencies in Lagos State. We have the Parking Authority, we have the Driving Institute, we have the LASWA, that is Lagos State Waterways Authority. So we want our children to have round education, in the space.
Okay. Hello, I have you there. Hello, how are you?
Hello?
Hello, how are you? Hello? Can you hear me? Okay, you call back now. I have time maybe for one or two, maybe one call. If it comes in now, we can take it. The number is 0700-903-903-903. If it's a bit dodgy, you can just send in a text and I'll read the text from you. Aka Ubi Kelechi, thank you for your kind message. Ifedayo, thank you guys for your kind messages too. I'll say they are personal to me. Thank you guys very, very much. Okay, so for people who will be coming on board the trains, what are some things they are not expected to bring along with them and to do?
Okay, if you enter the train, we already pasted the notices there. No eating, no drinking on the train. And you know why? We know that it's the right of the people to eat and drink, but we don't want the train littered.
So welcome rats eventually.
Exactly. Then people have been asking, why don't we have a trash bin on the trains? We have had experiences in other climes where they drop things they're not supposed to drop in the trash bins, and the train went up in flames. So we are not going to push any trash in the train. We want people to come into the train. If you must use your phone to play music, please don't disturb others. Come with your earphone. come with your phone so that you don't disturb others. Of course, we will not allow anybody to sell on the train or anybody to preach any faith on the train. The journey is very short for everyone, so let everybody enjoy their journey. The train is not a goods train, so we will not allow people bringing in their wares to say that we want to drop at so place. No, I think it's better for you to. It's a metro, so we're not going to allow that. We at the train stations, we expect people to get to the station at least 5 minutes before their trips, so that when they get to the train station, they will go. They'll be able to board the train. We don't want people to come to the train station and use the seat there as their sleeping bay. Yes. We will frown at any commuters harassing our staff. If anybody has done anything wrong to you, please report to the appropriate authorities and we'll deal with it timeously. We will not allow anyone to harass or beat up our staff. We have had instances where, those ground staff at BRT stations will say, the train, the bus is full, please, you cannot go in again. And, they will beat them up. We will not take on to that. We will not take to that. At every train station and bus station, we have information. For those who feel that they have been sexually harassed, there are numbers to call to report such cases of harassment. We don't want any harassment on any of our transport infrastructure or rolling stock.
Sexual harassment, wow. Okay, I know it does happen. People pushing against people, touching people and all that. That's disgusting. Thank you so much for your time today. We've had an enlightening session with you, and I'm very sure we're going to be doing this again some other time. We wish you the very best, and we hope that people will enjoy the services, use them properly. Don't be putting your leg on top anything, on top chairs or things. No, keep everywhere clean and tidy, and allow us to enjoy the clean air we'll be having while we ride the trains. Head of Corporate Communications, Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, Lamata, Mr. Kolawole Ojelabi, has been our guest, and we thank you again for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too, sir. Take care and bye-bye. Joseph Onorinshel, thank you very much too. Last line?
My last line is I wish the government of Ogun State would quickly key into what is going on there, because you cannot enter that kind of train from Lagos down to Risho, then not jump into Okada that will finish your waist.
God.
Please,
that's another continuity.
Okada Kwabiodu, I beg. Is it a job? How do you beg in Yoruba? I beg, so that they cannot. If you say sometimes you want drop for some bus stop, your brain will not be so. I won't enter that kind of this thing. I beg.
Oh, Joseph. All right, I'm Cordelia Okpei. I'll be seeing you tomorrow morning. Abiodun Jedije, thank you so much for being there, and also Shegun Bailey Adeniji for coordinating. Take care of yourselves. Did I say my name? Okay, I'll tell you again tomorrow morning in case I'm not talking today. Bye, yo.